Hey guys, it's Storybro here. Real quick, just wanted to say sorry for the delay on this. I know it came out way longer than I expected it to, and the literal only reason for this is I got my braces tightened on Wednesday. I came home, I went to sleep, and I woke up, and my mouth was cut to absolute shit, so I had to wait for that to heal before I could continue on with the next part. So, sorry for the delay, guys. Also, just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that after this, I am doing Storybro's Magically Lewd road trip adventure, so if you are a fan of Storybro's writing, or any of the characters, or just the general story arc, it's going to be continuing as soon as this one is over, and it's actually double the length. So, if that's something you guys are interested in, be sure to stick around, and of course, if you just want to get this story the fuck over with and get out of here, I respect that too. Anyways guys, without further ado, I hope you enjoy the video. Previously, on Storybro's Magically Lewd Sleepover adventure, a young Anon finds himself at a sleepover with 5 girls, quickly becoming the center of entertainment. He is fought over in desperate attempts to win over his affection relatively early on. He finds himself engaging with lewd behaviors involving multiple females, including losing his virginity to glasses, 69ing his longtime childhood friend Raven, being harassed by Homely and Birthday, then almost being killed by Blondie multiple times. Raven almost kills herself with intoxication, and when she finally comes to, Storybro tries to kill her. They find themselves trapped in a terrifying nightmare, sulking through the house, hiding from evil grooves lurking around every corner. Eventually, there is pizza to be had. Anon and Raven make intimate love after a close call with Homicide, and the night devolves into a game of dare-fueled poker, leaving tensions high between all, as they manipulate and outthink their way to young Anon's dick. Finally, we left off with Storybro realizing that Birthday has not been wearing panties this entire time, all the while parading around in a skirt. I realize with a start that Birthday might not actually be wearing panties right now, with a skirt on, like this entire time. She probably even went outside like that, got a pizza without panties on. That's lewd. I make notes in my head, and plan to check as soon as I get the chance. It's not a mystery I can afford to leave unsolved. But hands are dealt again, and I quickly push it to the back of my mind, which isn't true. For the next couple rounds, my head just isn't in the game. Every time Birthday's legs shift or move even the tiniest bit, they have my full attention, hoping for a peek. Cards are dealt. Birthday wins and asks if she can just keep her holding pile and get a dare instead. The Blondie committee agrees. Birthday is in full revenge mode as she turns to Homely. I dare you to tell everyone your most perverted fantasy. Hot. She's practically singing that dare, in that way mean girls often do. It's obviously intended as humiliating payback for attempting to get at her so many times already. Homely has other plans, though. I'll keep that one for later. A glint of victory in her eyes. A glint of disappointment in mine. Hearing women discuss perverted fantasies, that's not only hot as fuck, but it's interesting too. Almost a learning experience. I keep that dare in mind. I might want to use it myself later. Next round is Raven's win. She hasn't been too lucky with the cards, so it's only her second chance to get revenge. Her emerald eyes scanning the crowd to determine who looks the guiltiest. Knowing Raven, it's gotta be good, since her last one failed. Birthday has the most guilty look on her face, it seems, because her name is soon called out. I dare you to kiss someone in the room that you haven't kissed yet. She's trapped. Her holding pile is kissing glasses for a full minute, in case you forgot, and she can't kiss me because everyone knows she's kissed me. Birthday shoots a couple pleading glances at Blondie, hoping for her to overturn it. Sorry, it's technically a completely different dare. The sincerity in Blondie's voice is completely missing. She could have totally overturned that, but she doesn't want to. Birthday is getting triple teamed. Trapped. She's gotta kiss some girl in the room. This would be the part of any harem anime where they reveal there's some kind of secret lesbian relationship going on. Birthday and another girl, secretly lovers during moonlight. Their relationship a secret from everybody. Thus, she could kiss that girl and she wouldn't bat an eye. Right? Wrong. This isn't an anime. This is real life. 2005. That whole being bisexual because it's cool thing didn't actually happen until the 2007s. This was a room full of straight, sexually repressed females, just as the goddess Hera intended on her list of punishments for my sins. Which meant Birthday was going to have to kiss a girl she didn't want to kiss, and that, in all likelihood, wouldn't want to be kissed. In today's feminist-run society, this would be considered double rape with intent to commit misogynistic activities, and I would be sentenced to 6 years in jail for being there, where both participants are unwilling and are simply being forced by the patriarchy's disgusting and corrupted morals to perform lewd acts upon one another. And even if it was a girl daring them to do it, she was a prophet of the patriarchy and has had her opinions and judgments corrupted by having a male best friend. And such, I was the only real rapist in the room and would be due for castration and estrogen booster shots. This just makes it hotter though. Birthday is sitting there, biting her upper lip, trying to decide what she should do about this situation. I would expect her to be worried, but she just seems contemplative. Looks like she even gets a smile as she looks around the room. Her eyes settle on Raven. Uh-oh. Birthday is halfway across the room on her hands and knees, and I start laughing. I already know what sorry fate Raven has condoned herself to. Birthday connects a kiss right as the victim begins to squeal and try to escape. The kisser on her hands and knees, mouth pressed firmly against Raven's lips, whose entire body was still sitting upright. But the moment lips made contact with her, she tensed up almost like a cat, hissing at an enemy. Raven's hands were up and trying to stop the attack, but she couldn't push it away. All she could do was let out muffled sounds of dislike through the kiss until it broke away. It didn't last very long, only a couple of seconds really, but I was laughing the entire time. Birthday had cleverly turned the dare against her. Raven breaks away from the kiss in disgust, her arm whipped up trying to rub any traces of the kiss off of her lips, visibly shrinking back and making disgusted noises. That was not a dare she wanted, or the dare she needed, but it was the one she deserved. I'm not the only one laughing at the kiss, I realize, as I look around. Homely is on the floor and cackling witch-like laughter. I can almost imagine her saying, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too." I swear, pitch perfect. Glasses had her lovely resonating laugh going, always a lovely sound. The only one that was confusing was Blondie, who I hadn't been able to see until Birthday moved. She was directly across from Raven, and she was just staring, wide-eyed with her mouth open. I guess she just didn't expect Birthday to turn that dare around so smoothly. Or Birthday was her lesbian crush and she was heartbroken. A man can dream, right? Birthday pulls back and returns to her seat. Raven's busy making spitting sounds, and Blondie seems to have caught me staring at her and just blushes and looks away. I realize I must have triggered her cute safeguards as she was looking embarrassingly at the floor. Cuteness reactor overload in 5 minutes. I hope not. Raven is finally done making a big scene about her dare backfiring. Even though she was giving me a pouty face still, I just pointed at the cards. She reshuffled the deck and dealt again. Glasses wins. She still got a pretty awful holding dare though. Kiss Homely, so she drops that. Raven wins again. She turns to me. "I dare you to let me sit in your lap," with an excited voice. Kitty cat, puppy dog, don't hold this please eyes. Come on, Raven. I would have let you anyways if you just asked. But I know that her sitting on my lap is just going to make poker extremely difficult. She'll see all my cards, win every time against me. As cute as it sounds, as much as I want to let her do it, it's a trap. So I hold it. Her eyes set deeper into her face as I say this. They catch the light and flash that evil emerald green. I've ruined her plans. Oh no. She doesn't give me any faces though, just the eyes and lack of a smile. Kind of scary actually, but she returns to dealing cards. I scoot 3 inches away in fear when I think she's not looking. Hands go out, and I feel like I've got a great set of cards, so I'm ready to win. But I don't win. Homely wins again. Fuck. I just say it right off the bat. I swear, if you try to screw with Birthday again, she's not batting an eyelid. I don't understand how Homely is so calm in these kinds of situations. Instead, she turns towards me. Alright, I dare you to take off my shirt for me. Yeah, okay. Whatever. I would complain, but she's wearing a near transparent tight-ass shirt anyways. Her having her tits free would just be the same thing, but skin-colored, and like twice as bouncy. And soft, with nipples. Alright, well, it wouldn't be the same thing, but I'm not putting up a fight. I just move my way across the room and sit in front of her. No romance. She just lifts her arms. I grab the hem and raise it up and over. There's that one awesome moment. You know, the one where the bottom of the shirt is just barely holding the tits back, and then they kind of just flop out, free to the world. That's like the best part of women taking off shirts. That one moment. Then that moment ends. Then you realize it's Homely, and I really didn't want to stare. I mean, I wanted to stare, but Homely. You know that feel. I return to my seat with internal conflict raging. Stare or not to stare, that is the question. I end up staring, not for very long before Raven has taken notice. I get an actual slap on the wrist. It kinda stung, but just really enough to make me look at her, and the words she spoke next. I use up one of my dares. Homely, put your shirt back on. Aww. Homely's voice perks me out of my instantaneous depression. Alright, I'll hold on to that and tell everyone my fantasy. Based Homely coming through. Except, Blondie seems to not like the fact that I was staring either. Nor do any of the girls. Her, Glasses, and Birthday decide that our extra dares cannot be refused. I think they're doing it just to fuck with Homely. That's so going to backfire on all of them later though. Temporary gain at the cost of long-term loss, I guess. I know better than to say a word. They won't know what's hit them. Homely glares angrily at all of them after she finishes putting her shirt back on. I'm pretty sure she's going to attack someone. This is not going to end well. Birthday is returning, the angriest glare back. I can see the beam of light bouncing between each of their eyes, actual sparks flying across the room. I try to defuse the Cold War before nukes are fired. Hey guys, let's take a snack break. All lasers focused on me now. What have I done? But after half a second, the eyes kind of soften up. It seems to have worked. We get up and mosey off to the kitchen. I don't seem to make it all the way to the kitchen, however. I'm grabbed by the hand and directed away towards the side of the house. I end up outside the small bathroom with Raven and a flashlight. Her face betrays no emotions, but I know I've fucked up something. I'm waiting patiently for her to speak what's on her mind, but she's not talking. She seems to be searching my face for something. Actually, worried searching. Fuck, what did I do? She fills me in. You were supposed to pick me. Nothing but a hum of sadness in those words. You keep picking everyone else. I don't have a proper response. I realize I've gotten myself into possible breakdown territory. She's obviously jealous over a mixture of the other girls getting to do things with me, and me denying her plea for lap-sitting. My lack of response seems to hit her harder than actual words, but I've really got no clear-cut way of making her feel better. I really don't know what to say, and I really think this isn't about me not letting her sit on my lap at all. I know her better than that. I get dragged off to the guest room and she locks the door. It's still windy in here, blowing through the shutters, freezing cold, and pitch black. I'm quite aware there's probably still glass on the floor in the corner. We're just standing there, silently against the door in darkness. I can hear our breathing again, soft and relaxed from both of us. I wish I could see her eyes and know what she's thinking. Raven seems to have had a question she wanted to ask in here, though, her voice inquisitively painful. We're together now, right? Fuck. That's not a question I was really even sure about myself. We didn't even talk about it or anything. Hadn't even had the chance. But she had talked about it with me. In her head. And that head me, was telling her that we are an item now. Whereas in my head, me, was screaming, oh no, oh fuck, oh no. It's not that I was scared of having Raven be with me in a relationship or anything. It's just that I didn't know. We had gone from friends to enemies to more in a span of just 24 hours. I'm not sure if I should say this or not, what reaction I would get. She doesn't even give me a chance. She's got her hand down the front of my pants. She's not touching me anywhere else though, as if there's no real romance involved. I wasn't hard, semi-really, from previous events, but I mean, who wouldn't be? Her hands are all the way on my dick, and she's even stroking it softly. She asks again, but it's not a question. We're together now, right? Every word is punctuated by a hard stroke and a squeeze. That does the trick. I'm diamonds again, but I still haven't said a word in return. She got one of my hands with her other she strokes. I feel it moved under her skirt, across her thighs. She's not wearing panties anymore. She's pressing my fingers firmly against her. Choose me. It's a breathless whisper, and I don't need another hint. I take 2 fingers and try to slip them inside of her. She's not wet enough for how tight it is, so I need to wiggle and waggle them a bit. I'm reminded of trying to get 2 fingers into the neck of a balloon. Raven was not enjoying it. She started whimpering and pressed her chest against mine, her breasts pressing into me. 2 hard points of contact, colder than my own skin. I'm trying to be gentle, but I'm worried I'm hurting her. I'm worried my fingers aren't even in the right place. It doesn't take long for my suspicions to give way as I get her wet enough for them to slip right in. It's still tight, but I can move my hand up and down and try to make her enjoy this somewhat compared to the discomfort I had obviously caused her. She didn't even seem to like this. 30 seconds later, she pulls my hand away. I'm worried I'm doing something horribly wrong. She just alleviates my fears by pulling me over to the bed and pulling down my pants. A couple shuffles more and my hands are on her hips. Then she's leaning forward, hands on the bedspread. I realize she wants me to take her from behind. I can't see anything, so it's really just a ton of fumbling. Back to no maps or guides again. I can't find where my dick is supposed to go. Really just absolutely lost. I'm considering pulling over and asking for directions, but it seems I've prodded her a little too hard too many times in the wrong places. I find her hand between my legs and I'm guided into a safe landing all the way down to the base. It's extremely tight, like before. Hot. There's quite a bit more friction than when we were in the tub. I assumed that was because there was less lubrication or however those mechanics worked out. All I knew is that it was amazing. I took a couple of tentative strokes and found no complaining. Alrighty then. I grabbed her hips and thrust like I never had thrust before. It was dirty. It was sweaty. I couldn't even hear a sound she made over the wind in the bedroom and the soft rain outside. I could only see faintly an outline of what she looked like, face pressed into the sheets, both of us panting like dogs. I didn't last nearly as long as I had before, maybe a couple of minutes at most. I gave a couple last forced thrusts, hoping she would orgasm like she did before. No dice. I just kind of lurched forward, forced my hips into hers. I leave a spurt after spurt inside of her. Long, forceful spasms. It was amazing. I enjoyed every second of it, but as I pulled out and lay beside her, I heard her breath. It was smooth, calm even, whereas mine was ragged, fast, and harsh. She's awake. She's moving slightly. Her hand finds its way into mine, like it was trying to tell me it was all fine, but nothing about that was right. I don't think she enjoyed it at all. Any of it. Frankly, I don't think she even wanted to have sex with me, but that makes no sense since she started it all on her own. I enjoyed it. I had been in Valhalla for however long I was inside of her, but it felt forced, like she was doing it only for me. I don't know why anyone would do this, her of all people. It almost makes me sick to my stomach with the thought, but I don't ask. I get pulled to my feet by the hand she's holding. I hear shuffling as what's probably her panties and are reapplied. I do the same. She turns on the flashlight. She's smiling. It's a real smile. I don't smile back. I don't know if it's fake or not. We leave the bedroom holding hands. We enter the kitchen holding hands. All the girls turn and stare. Raven doesn't care. I do, but I hide it. I don't have to hide it too well, because I find something in the kitchen that changes my mood right away. The girls have a bottle of rum out on the island right in the middle. I drop Raven's hand. My hands go to my hips and I yell, "What the fuck is that?" I'm not just angry. The girls take up dignified stances against me. "Rum! What does it look like? You said we were having a drinks break." It's homely. I also said snacks break. Fuck her. Blondie speaks up. "We talked while you and Raven were making out." Her voice is half crying, half screaming. I actually think she's going to leap across the kitchen at me and strangle me. And knowing Blondie, though, I'm in for much worse. The worst part is, this makes me realize I hadn't kissed Raven at all, not even once. This doesn't make it hard to tell Blondie the truth. "You were the last girl I kissed, Blondie." She hears the sincerity in my voice and softens her tone. Muscles on her face no longer scowling. Her fears are alleviated slightly, but mine aren't. Birthday tries to explain. "We figured we would just have a little, all together, and make sure nobody has too much." She's honest. She's scared of what Raven did earlier. "We were even going to mix it. Then it's just really light." I realize they have various fruit juices out behind them. I can't blame Birthday. I can't blame Homely. They didn't let the shit earlier go down. I can't stop them at all, really. If they want to drink again, I can't do anything but make sure they really don't drink very much. I give up and look over to Raven. She's not going to drink, right? Right? I'm not gonna have any, guys. Phew. She was sincere. I bet she probably still felt a little sick. I wouldn't have let her anyways. If there was one girl in the room I could control, it was Raven, since even before we were more. I announced the same. I don't really want anything either. That brings a sigh from the huddle of women across the kitchen. Blondie seems to feel guilty and agrees to not drink as well. I feel bad for her since she seemed to want to drink, but I guess she's just trying to not feel bad about what happened earlier. Homely, Glasses, and Birthday don't give a fuck and continue mixing drinks. I end up with a virgin orange juice something. Raven and Blondie seem to have accomplished similar cups of fruit brew. There's really not much that goes on in the kitchen. We just all end up drinking cups of things while the three gals with rum try to get themselves tipsy. Eventually, Glasses starts giggling and clinging onto my arm. Then Homely starts clinging onto my other arm. Then Birthday is behind me, hugging me. I think they accidentally passed tipsy. I fucking failed my job of not letting them drink too much. Of fucking course. I can't really blame myself because I don't know how body weight and everything factor in that well, and I didn't really measure out how much they had put into each cup. Frankly, I had no control over them at all, but I blamed myself anyways. Blondie and Raven aren't tearing me apart yet, but I know they will be if I let this go on too much longer. I can feel the angry stares starting. I trudge free of the limpets attaching slowly to all of my exposed limbs and suggest we go back to the poker room. This seems to be an accepted plan. The three girls are giggling and adding a chorus of sound to the short walk. Blondie looks like she's sad for missing out. Raven doesn't look like anything, really. It's not long before we're all situated in another happy circle. This time, we're all much closer together. The order ends up me, Raven, Homely, Birthday, Blondie, Glasses, and then me. Glasses is actually holding on to one of my arms, which is mirrored about instantly by Raven, and elicits jealous stares from around the circle. I try to get the game started again. Everyone's kind of not really gamey, though. At least the three tipsy girls aren't. They're mostly whispering jokes and giggling. It seems they're kind of over whatever angry tension they had between one another, which is good. Hands go out, and Birthday wins. She removes her holding dare, make out with Glasses. Hands go out again. Blondie wins. She's glaring daggers at me for some reason. I don't get why. I dare... She turns around to look at me. I dare Glasses to switch spots with me. Aw, but Glasses is like pressing her boobs up against my arm though. Alright, fine. Glasses gets up in a huff. Changing of the guards occurs. Glasses has her arms crossed, glaring at Blondie. Blondie is now doing the exact same thing to my arm that Glasses was just doing, aka molesting it. But not really, because Blondie is kind of cutely hugging my arm against her instead of hugging her against my arm. I can't explain it, but it's really cute, okay? Raven deals more cards. I'm honestly amazed I'm even still able to play with two girls hugging my arms, but I manage. Raven wins the hand anyways though. It's not like I was winning before I had girls on my arms. Raven turns to me with an obvious dare on her mind. It's probably got to do with the lack of talking I did in the guest bedroom. Pick one girl in this room that you hate and tell them that. Ha, fuck, no. I'm not playing this game. I just pat my lap a couple of times. You win, Raven. She gets the idea and scooches over and sits in it. Raven's a pretty good lap sitter. She kind of curls up into my arm and manages to not block my view of the game at all. She's sat on my lap for years though. Comes with practice, really. I'm not even going to play any more of these pick one games. It's too dangerous. I have to keep my cards in a pile to the side now. Just look at them once and try to remember which are which. It's not helping my game, honestly. I'm pretty sure Blondie can see my cards too when I peek at them. It's not like I was winning anyways. Glasses throws down a straight flush. She's got some good luck. She doesn't even hesitate with the dare though. I dare Blondie to switch places with me. Blondie responds real quick. I hold. Instant pouty face from Glasses. Lol. Next hand is dealt out. Birthday wins. She starts out looking at the circle, but then she just stops and stares at me. She seems to be staring at my toes. Well, my toes or Raven's, our feet are kind of curled up in the same place. We're kind of wiggling and waggling our toes. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. I realize I'm probably exposed. I try to pull my feet in closer, but it's too late. Storybro, I dare you to let us paint your toenails. No, she found my mortal weakness. I was regretting the eventual start of girly things. I have almost avoided all of it. Except for the girly clothes. Those were unavoidable. Also, I have to let them do it because my holding dare is awful. I just have to accept it. Roll with it. Let it be a part of me. It's really not too bad, and it's honestly silly. I don't mind a fun dare, as long as I can pick the color. I guess toenail painting is a big thing because instantly, Birthday, Homely, and Blondie were off with the intent to find the toenail paint? Back in seconds though. They've got an entire selection of various bottles and things. Oh man. This would be the part where I detail what everyone's cute feet and toes looked like. Only one problem. If you haven't really noticed, I really like faces. Facial expressions and eyes. Those are my favorite bits. The bits I remember most vividly. I don't really have any interest in feet. So even though the women all decided at this point in time to sprawl legs out and touch toes as they started the girly endeavor that is toenail painting, I can't remember the arches or toe sizes, heels, or any of that fun stuff. I'm sorry, lonely, feet-loving Anons. What I can remember is two girls, the one I spent the most time with and the one with the cutest feet, aka Raven and Blondie. Blondie painted her toenails sky blue, always a shade of blue of some sort. Some days darker, some days lighter, some days a nearly transparent coat she had thinned with a clear varnish. That's what I remember the most because I always mentioned it to her, passing conversations like, haha, navy blue today I see, or a bit of sky fell on your toes, you might want to wipe that off. I don't think it ever had much meaning behind it, just had always learned to start conversations with women on trivial complimentary aspects of their current appearance. That's essentially how you talk to women, if you are wondering, Anons. Just don't spurg it. If you're not good at leading her, "Oh yeah, I just felt like a blue today," into your, "Oh hey now, I haven't done anything to make you sad now, have I?" Don't bother complimenting appearances because you'll fuck up and make it more awkward. She also liked her feet, so complimenting a girl on a thing she likes and puts great care into is always a plus. Blondie had small, cute little feet with long, slender toes, and I guess she paid a great amount of attention to them. Always wearing sandals or open top shoes, but whenever I saw the bottoms of them, they were never too dirty or rough. I liked her feet. They were good feet and a good excuse to start a conversation with her. Raven, herself, she didn't paint her toenails. Maybe once in a blue moon, but it wasn't really her forte. She was really more of a tomboy. Took after me in the feet care area. I didn't think about my feet more than once a month. We liked to both wear socks all the time. Our houses had these giant cold marble and stone floors that were freezing all year round. Saved us from getting them roughed up, I guess. Honestly, her feet took quite a bit of neglect. I hadn't ever seen her use lotion or clip her nails properly. Sure, her mother tried sometimes when she was younger, but it was a lost cause. They weren't smooth, either. They were bony, and when she flexed, you could see all the tendons, those lovely muscles that make feet work, those curving and crisscrossing blue veins and vessels across the top surface. Her skin was pale enough to see right through. Hell, she even used to bite her toenails sometimes. Guilty pleasure, I guess. She wasn't meant to be a foot model later in life, but her feet spoke a different story. They were functional. They were used. Raven would sometimes climb trees with me barefoot, splash with me in the mud or sand at the beach. I liked Raven's feet. They were beautiful, functional, used and neglected feet. Stark contrast, I know. I don't really remember any of the other girls' feet or toes, but I remember they had them wiggling and kicking in front of me along with my own. Everyone back to giggling and cheering at various color mixes they were inventing for my soon-to-be girly toes. Oh, wait, while I was telling you about Raven and Blondie's toes, it ends up so they painted mine. Bright pink. Really, it wasn't that interesting. I was lost in thought or staring at someone's chest the entire time. I had no real say in the matter anyways. Doomed to be a girly color from the start because it was a dare. The important thing to note is that it didn't seem like we were going back to poker. I think the tipsy girls weren't interested anymore. Glasses was falling asleep with what looked to be neon green unscrewed in her hand, which was quickly rescued by Blondie so it didn't spill. Birthday and Homely were giggling all over one another. Whatever they were talking about, it was probably hilarious. Alcohol solving all previous conflicts. I was left with Blondie sitting next to me, wiggling her toes. Sky blue, if I didn't already say, and holding onto my wrist for whatever reason. And Raven, who was curled up in my lap with my arm pulled across her bare chest. Yes, I do realize that I've probably got my hands right on or around her breasts, but no, I don't act on it. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to, and there were other women around. I was pretty comfy, plenty of time to think about what had happened that day, just lost in thought as Blondie and Raven discussed something to do with quantum thermal mechanics and the result of thorium-uranium fractation. It was enlightening, really. Well, that was until Birthday starts shouting about how Hawking radiation was never proven to exist. She seems to be claiming quasiparticles are some kind of pseudo-unproven science. Meanwhile, Homely is trying to claim quantum superposition is a perfectly legitimate avenue for testing them. As I'm sure you would all understand, this didn't go well at all. Eventually, they got into a shouting match over the speed of light, and I think Homely brings up Cherenkov radiation, and shit just hits the fan. As any Wikipedia scientist would know, that argument was never going to end well, but this one ended far, far worse than well. Within moments, the girls were upon one another in a flurry of various dirty underhand attacks, punches, hair pulling, biting. Homely. Figures, right? Slapping, kicking, name-calling, a full-blown catfight. Considering how scantily clad the women were, I could have happily sat back with a drink and enjoyed the show. Homely's panties were fairly visible every time she went on the offensive, her long legs and butt peeking out from under the overshirt every time she lunged at her current mortal enemy. They weren't flabby. They moved in that taut but firm kind of way muscly bits do when you're exerting yourself, not to mention the copious amount of jiggling and bouncing of her breasts were doing in that thin t-shirt without a bra. And that was just Homely. Birthday wasn't really winning the fight. Homely's bitch foo seemed to be a bit too hard to counter, too many low-handed tactics. Birthday's hair was a mess, having been tugged and yanked in various directions. It was tangled, sticking out and repositioning itself every time they sparred. Her cheeks were alternating between that pale white that sticks around a couple seconds after you've been slapped to a slowly darkening hue of pink. Her bra was half pulled off, one cup askew after Homely had used it as a handhold for whatever punishment she had attempted to met out. Yes, that meant that one tip was flopping around free. And lastly, the skirt, leaving just the most tantalizing views of flesh and thighs as it wafted up and down with each movement, sometimes tantalizing shadows that I wish I could have made out if the lights were on. I'm not really sure what I was thinking as I watched this. I'm not really sure what any of us were thinking as we watched it. Those same not sure thoughts that flow through most heads anytime something like this happens. As we stared on, mouths collectively open in awe, it wasn't really until we started listening to what they were screaming about that we took any action at all. Bits and pieces of, "I won," or "You lost," thrown about, except louder. As Glasses, Raven, Blondie, and myself got up to interject, we hear that it was a bet, that they'd been betting against one another on something, screaming about it not being over yet as we rushed over to separate the two. Now, separating fighting girls is no easy task. It took two of us per. I ended up trying to hold back Birthday, elbowed in the stomach, backhanded accidentally in the shoulder. Angry women are not easy to pull off one another, but we managed. However, the screaming didn't stop. "I went the furthest," said Birthday. "He wouldn't let me," said Homely. Birthday screams, "Admit it, I win!" It's not hard to piece together. The argument was about me. Not really about me, though. These kicking, screaming women seemed to unveil more of the story each shout. They had made a bet, a friendly competition of sorts. From pieces of shouting, we could tell it was about who I liked the most, about who could get the furthest with me, to see who could prove once and for all that I liked them better, or that they were the more attractive one, or more likable. Frankly, I didn't know the reason because I was lost in the screaming. It wasn't a very friendly competition. All I and the other girls could hear was that Birthday had seemingly won, as we had gone all the way, in her words, that I and her were the closest, and that Homely was an ugly, unwanted bitch. Her words, not mine, even though I've pretty much been telling you guys the same thing the entire time. At least I didn't say it to her face, you know? But the cat was out of the proverbial bag. You can see why Homely was winning the fight, when her very value as a female was at stake, but we couldn't really defuse this situation. I mean, there was absolutely nothing I could do. No amount of words was going to solve the problem that I'd created unknowingly between these two. Frankly, it wasn't even my fault. I was actually somewhat angry at them. All the attention they'd been giving me was fake. Hot, but fake. Plus, my sandwich died over this stupid bet. That's like maximum uncool. I couldn't tell if all those hot kisses with Birthday were fake or just her playing a game. I couldn't tell if Homely had actually wanted my attention or just wanted to win the contest. It was a pretty shitty feeling because suddenly you stop evaluating yourself as some kind of alpha badass and you realize you've been a toy the entire time. I mean, it was hot. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but I was a toy. And my thoughts after the fact kinda ruined that experience. I was no longer in a happy, hot pink toes mood. I wanted red. Fire engine red. There's quite a bit of yelling between everyone. I'm calling them both idiots. Blondie's telling everyone to calm down. Raven's telling everyone to calm down. And Glasses is giggling and holding back Homely like a drunken fool. The fight has stopped. The shouting has stopped. Well, except for a few choice swear words from each of them. They both had faces squirmed into contorted positions, silently screaming at one another. They weren't struggling anymore. Well, Homely wasn't. Birthday still was, until she started screaming, let go of me, and writhing back and forth to lose the arms holding her back. She gets one arm free and I panic and try to jump between the girls to make sure they don't fight again. They don't. Birthday just glowers at me, her face a mixture of too many emotions to count, and she stomps away, a door slamming in the distance. We're all frozen, Glasses still giggling and holding Homely. Nobody else is laughing, but Glasses seems to have found something amazingly funny about the entire exchange. She doesn't say anything, though. Thank God. Instead, it's Homely who's the first one who speaks. It's directed at me. It's a cry. A plea for help, for validation. Why don't you like me? That's not a hard question to answer, Homely. Your personality is utter shit, and I would pay for it 1,000 times over if I even hinted at liking you. But I don't tell her this. This would get me thrown out of the house by all the women. No contest. Instead, I say nothing, and she continues. I even offered up everything to you, and you still didn't want it. Nothing but sobbing, a cold fear in these next words. What's wrong with me? Not an easy situation to diffuse, Anons. Frankly, I'm not sure I would have even been able to diffuse it at all unless she had continued. Her next words gave me the needed fodder, even if it was way worse. You had sex with her and not me? That tone of voice was back to anger, but she wasn't angry at me for supposedly having sex with Birthday. She was mad that I had turned her down and seemingly went off and did it with her, without batting an eye. She was tearing herself apart on the inside. There's an easy fix to that. I had two choices that popped into my head. We didn't. She lied. Or she wouldn't let me. Guess which one I picked. If you guessed the second one, that's where your story ends. I was found brutally murdered and decapitated in the living room. None of the women were ever heard from ever again, except for Glasses, who is rumored to be wrestling bears to death with her bare hands off in Alaska or something. If you guessed the first one, though, you are correct. For once in my life, I didn't pick the answer that would have made everything 1,000 times worse. It took a bit of prodding for the truth to set in. I had to go and rewrite history, explaining with great detail that I had not had intercourse with any of the women while they got me alone in the bathroom to punish Birthday. Blondie has questions. Ends up she was listening outside the bedroom door at first. What about all of Glasses moaning? They just get giggles from Glasses, who's sitting on the couch with a smile on her face. This is probably one of the reasons Blondie was angry at me all day that I couldn't figure out. It takes zero effort to explain I was getting a back massage to help my back, and she was just being allowed to torment Birthday. This seems like a reasonable explanation and is accepted by everyone. Just sounds like something Glasses would do, I guess. Except Raven. Raven has no clue what we're talking about. What do you mean Glasses was helping your back? She's not angry about me possibly having sex with Glasses. Again, she knew. But she was asleep when I got hurt. Everyone just kind of stares at her silently, waiting for the first foolhardy soul to try to explain it. I'm trying to piece together neutral words to ensure that nobody dies. Too late. Glasses has a better plan, and blurts out the truth. Blondie almost killed Storybro. She says this with a giggle. I think she's really plastered, honestly. Doesn't help. Glasses is such a bro. I can barely get between Raven and Blondie in time. Blondie ends up in a corner, with me protecting her from Raven's angry assault of claws and daggers. She gets me with an initial kidney shot after I put up inner fire, breaks through my power shield. I'm trying to throw Renew and a heal on myself, but she interrupts me with a kick and a sinister strike. I'm praying that my psychic scream will come off cooldown before she gets an eviscerate off. Her slice and dice seems to wear off just in time, and the assault stops the second I face and drop aggro. And it's not really fighting between her and me, she's just trying to get at Blondie before she gets her Heartstone cast off. My pleas of, wait, I'm fine, it's okay, stop, don't be angry at her, are mostly lost. I was lying through my teeth. Anyway, my back still hurt. On some level, she was probably imagining the most insane methods of Blondie assassination you could come up with, and it wasn't making it any better that I was trying to stop her from assassinating Blondie on the spot, too. It's not long before Glasses intervenes, Homely wanting no part in another fight, or just having no honor. Your pick. Glasses drags the kicking and angry Raven off, trying to get me, and does the honors of making the situation different. I won't say better, and I won't say worse. Glasses mumbles pretty loudly into Raven's ear. I saved him. You should be thanking me. Raven just gives an exasperated sigh and asks what the full story was, so I told everyone to shut up, and I told as calmly as I could about what had happened, what I felt. This was the first time, actually, any of the girls there had learned what actually was happening to me. They were too busy fretting over me afterwards to figure out what had happened, and they had just concentrated on my back because it was visible. Blondie shrinks into the corner, trying to make herself very, very, very small during the course of the story. Glasses is heightening the story with sounds of her own, gasps and ah. Even Homely seems to be giving out various sounds of dismay at either me not dying or how much it hurt. Possibly the me not dying part, but Raven is silent, tears streaming down her face. I'm terrified of what I've just unleashed. It would have been safer to just pretend nothing had happened. I try to explain that Blondie will find a way to make it up to me. Point out that she's going to make me some damn cupcakes in the future and I'm going to get to eat all of them. Blondie was our resident baker. Cookies mostly, but sometimes cake. Eat all of them probably at the same time, with lots of frosting and everything. Yeah, I want cupcakes now too. This doesn't seem to be about Blondie anymore. Raven has her arms around me and is sobbing into my shoulder, which should be sexual. I mean, we were both still topless, but I don't know, I was used to her chest almost. Like any of the other girls would have breasts that bounced or swayed as they moved. My attention would shift instantly if any of them weren't wearing a top, but hers were small enough that they were firm, almost no movement, like accessories almost. Perfect size in my mind, the kind of topless where you can stare for a moment and go, those are attractive, and look away. Which I'm explaining because the first thought I did have was that she was now pressing her bare chest against mine, a sensation that I enjoyed deeply. It was warm, comforting even, but she wasn't comforting me. She was comforting herself and blubbering words out like a small child that had lost her favorite toy, in the accident that had killed that small child's parents. She was sobbing words into my chest, but everyone heard them. Words about how it was all her fault for drinking. Words about how if she was there she could have realized and stopped it, or saved me. Words about what she would have felt if she had woken up and I had been gone. She poured her emotions out and made us feel like heartless bastards for how much she felt than we were. She seemed to be dealing with the thought of losing me on an emotional scale unforeseen by all in the room. All I can do is hug her back and remind her I'm still here. I try and joke that we can have a funeral still if she wants. You know, lighten the mood. It goes about as well as you would expect. She just grabs me and sobs even harder into my chest. Of course, I made it worse. I don't think I can fuck up the situation anymore, I guess, but she's back to talking. Don't leave me! That's what I hear, at least. It could be all kinds of things she said, muffled at that angle. I just end up patting her back. I don't really know what else I should be doing. The other girls aren't helping, except for Homely, who is sitting on the couch now with a blanket. She takes the lovely choice of interrupting. I call the couch. Don't cry for too much longer. I'm tired. She says that as she wraps herself up and lies down. You're a dick, Homely. But it does the trick. Raven sniffles and stops crying all over me. I'm covered in spots of tears and snot. Thanks, Raven. Blondie decides to take the chance to dart out of the corner past us. Raven makes a hissing noise and bats at her with a claw as she runs past, just barely missing a scratch connecting. Blondie even lets out the appropriate eep noise and hides off in the kitchen, Raven's emerald green cat eyes glimmering at her from near darkness. We are interrupted by a shirt flying at us from the couch. It hits me in the face. Glasses is back to giggling. Homely announces, "It was too tight," and rolls over in her blanket. That's fine. I just use it to wipe the snot and tears off me and throw it on the ground. Thanks, Homely. Raven ends up stomping after Blondie into the kitchen. I'm about to go intercept her when I stop and find Glasses in my way. Don't. They need to talk. She seems to have had a moment of clarity. I don't know how important girl talks can be, but I'm worried about how much murder will be involved. Glasses doesn't let me leave. Her hand is on mine, holding me back. I don't hear screaming or shouting or hitting from the kitchen though, so I assume all is right in the world to the point at which I need not interrupt. Glasses, however, is all over me. She had ulterior motives, I guess. She's really drunk. Her hands are all over in places they definitely should not be, on my body and hers. Comments like, "My top is really tight too," are being whispered in my ear. I have the clear notion that this is wrong, that I should not take advantage of her at all, even though her hand is in my boxers, trying to convince me otherwise, that I'm not in the mood after the shit that just went down. I say some of these words. She mentions that Blondie and Raven need time to talk, and that I've still got a dare left. Ugh. Fuck it. I give in to my weak will. I know I shouldn't, that I should be concerned about the kitchen or something, but I'm not thinking. We're off in the bathroom. I dare her to give me a blowjob. I don't ask for anything more because I am still trying to work out my feelings about who I should be really chasing. But she did just get me rock hard. Her own damn fault. She can fix it. My pants are down faster than a clown. She's on her knees and starts sucking. It's perfect. She's got suction, she's got tongue. I'm in Asgard for about 3 minutes, until she stops. I look down. She's fast asleep on her knees, head of my cock still in her mouth. I'm pretty sure my laughter can be heard throughout the whole house. She looked absolutely absurd. She was really drunk and really tired, just fell asleep mid-blow. I contemplate using her to finish up even if she is asleep. Maybe finish in her mouth. Maybe just strip her a bit and jack all over her. As tempting as they all were, the ideas felt a bit too wrong when I actually had the chance to do them. She was still my friend. It felt like I was degrading her as a person. It's more fun if she's the one doing it. She would probably happily give me a blowjob later if I asked anyways. There were plenty of good reasons. There's a real moral checkpoint you have to hurdle yourself over to want to defile a sleeping lady. Even if she had fallen asleep willingly with my dick in her mouth, the moral of the story is that I pussied out and ended up jacking off into the toilet. Still got to ogle her bra-clad tits while I did it though. I justified that in my head. Figured she would want me to. I finish up my FAP session, clean up, wash hands. You know, just gotta be polite. It's not my house. I still kinda feel bad, even though we didn't do anything. My thoughts linger on the other 2 girls in the kitchen, and I wonder how long I've been. I kinda haul Glasses to her feet, but she's still asleep. Decide I gotta drag her to the nearest sleeping facility, which would be the sleeping bags in Birthday's room. We make the journey down the hallway, fighting off snakes and alligators on our river trip. Eventually, we make it and I try the door. Locked. Fuck. Birthday, let me in. Glasses needs a sleeping bag. No response. Fuck. Out of all the times for her to be a snotty, attention-grabbing crybaby. I lug and haul Glasses out to the living room. There's only one sleeping bag out here. It takes me a full 2 minutes to get her into the sleeping bag, giggling in her sleep and all. Then another minute to zip it up properly and make sure she's got a pillow from the couch. I turn around and realize we don't have any more sleeping bags. I mean, we've got the one that's in the laundry room, but we aren't using that one for reasons. I just waltz over to the candles and decide I might as well put one out and take the other with me. After I put one out, I hear Homely behind me. "Hey, perv!" Me being an idiot, I turn around. She's got her chest exposed and the blanket wrapped around her stomach. Lovely breasts facing me, of course. "You should tuck me in like you did her." It's a hopeful question. Luckily, in my post-FAP clarity, I'm capable of thinking rationally. I just blow out the second candle and walk away. I end up in the kitchen with a single flashlight illuminating the girls hugging and crying in a corner. All problems solved. No, not really. They're kinda staring one another off. Decent amount of distance between one another. I ask them a simple question. Everything cool now? I get a yep from Raven and a silence from Blondie. It comes to my mind that she's been beaten into submission. I see no open wounds or bleeding, so I assume there wasn't too much damage done. I start rummaging around in the drawers for matches to light the second candle again. Don't say anything. While I'm doing this, I also mention the previously discovered problem. Birthday locked all the sleeping bags in her room. This is met by mixed response. Raven just kind of shrugs. Me and you can sleep over in the parents' bedroom together. No big deal. She's right. We technically had already slept together over there. But what about Blondie? I ask this. Raven already has a response planned out. She can sleep on the floor, or the guest room or something. Oh, there it is. There's definitely still bitch hate between these two. They are most certainly not cool with one another. Raven knows firsthand that the guest room is freezing cold and windy, that she's pretty much trying to punish Blondie in some kind of mean way when she shouldn't be involved. The saddest part is that Blondie seems to just be taking it lying down. No fight from her whatsoever, and I can't bear to see that happen. I'm not going to consign a friend to a night of uncomfortable or cold sleep when there's rain and wind in that room right now. I say all of these words, and a couple more. She can sleep in the parents' bed with us. Raven's eyes flash with emerald fire in the flashlight's glow. Blondie objects first. Lots of, I can't, and I don't want to, the guest room is fine. Raven seems to agree. She's making up excuses as to why only two of us can sleep together, and with Blondie, it would be wrong or something. I'm not playing this game. Raven's obviously mad at Blondie and beat her down with words into submission. I'd have to solve this for their own good. I dare Blondie to sleep in the same bed as us. There we go. Problem solved. Or not. Raven's mouth starts moving like she's going to overturn my dare with her own. But I don't let her. I swear to God, Raven, you say a word, and I'll hate you. She closes her mouth. It's settled then. Blondie doesn't argue. She knows it's nicer than anything else, even if it's embarrassing. The bed's fucking huge anyways. She could be miles away from us. We're going to all eventually end up in the parents' bed together. When I say eventually, it's because none of us are actually tired yet. All that adrenaline and fighting and kicking and screaming kind of had us buzzed a bit. Plus, we hadn't drunk alcohol and Raven was asleep all day and I had plenty of periodic naps. Blondie suggests we eat some cereal. This is a brilliant plan. We spend the next 20 minutes by candlelight, each crunching on cereal in a slow, methodical, contemplative kind of way, in not too cold milk because the fridge went out. We didn't really hurry because none of us had anything to say. It had been a long, eventful day. I don't think we needed to say much of anything, just our delicious cereal as the rain continued to fall outside. Cereal finished. We're still not tired, but there really is nothing we want or care to do. Raven makes the move and blows out the candle, turning on the flashlight. It's off to bed we go, I guess. The trip is uneventful, silent. The creaking and moving of the house as we walked along the only noise I remembered. We reached the bedroom, the well sat on and rumpled bed, showing off all the action I had gotten over the day. Various people sitting on, lying on, or crawling across it. All that history gone the moment Raven flipped the covers over. It's decided. I'm going to be in the middle. Blondie is gonna sleep on the far, far end, Raven the other end. I point out that we haven't changed into anything yet, but we don't actually have pajamas. I make it a point to strip off my sweatpants and leave just my boxers on. I'm kind of hoping the other two women will take off more clothes, at least Blondie. Maybe. Nope. I even suggest she take off her bra so she'll be able to sleep more comfortably. Nope. She's too embarrassed even though we've seen her naked. Oh well. We do that thing where we all get in place to sleep, legs under the covers and all. Our flashlight is rather dim at this point, batteries running low, so we aren't sure if we want to stay up and talk or not. Raven makes the first move. She scooches all the way from her side to right next to me, turns around and presses her skirt-clad butt right into my side. She wants us to go to sleep spooning. Blondie is silently watching from across the bed. Speak now or forever hold your peace, Blondie. Nothing. Alright then. I turn over and spoon Raven, wrapping an arm around her chest. It's rather warm as we pull the blankets over ourselves. She wiggles her butt against my crotch a couple times. I'm rather lucky I fapped in the bathroom or I would have to sleep with a boner, which wouldn't be possible, but I seem to remain soft enough as Blondie flips out the light. I hear her wrap herself off in the distance and curl up with the blanket. I fall asleep to the smell of Raven's hair, whatever flavor that goddess Ron's forsaken bubble bath was, but I squirm awake sometime later. I'm warm. I'm very, very comfy, but I'm not sure why I woke up. I might be a bit too warm, actually. My back is just as warm as my front, but that doesn't make sense. What also doesn't make sense is the hands wrapped around my stomach. I realize Blondie has slid over and is curled up to me from behind. I'm being double spooned. Awesome. Her hands are also on my stomach, one of them half in my boxers. I get to wondering if she's awake. I'm not sure how to check though. I take my free hand and kind of tap hers to see if she's going to respond. Nothing. She must have been asleep for a while now. Tried to fondle me and fell asleep with her hand there, maybe, but she could be faking it. Brilliant idea. I pushed my boxers to about my mid-thighs. It wasn't too hard because they didn't fit very well anyways. I then grab one of her hands and slowly move it to cup my crotch. Lewd, I know, but she didn't react, so I knew she was actually asleep and not faking it. Plus, she put her hands halfway there anyways. I contemplate moving her hand away, but then I smile when I think of what she'll do when she wakes up. Probably scream. I doze off with an evil grin on my face. I don't wake up to screaming. I wake up with two soft and smooth hands below the covers playing with me, and I was as hard as Contra without cheats. Blondie seems to have been fondling me in various ways while I was sleeping. Maybe curiosity, maybe a tad bit of perversion, but she probably didn't know I was awake. Her hands are smooth, soft, gentle, and warm. She's not being abrasive or chafing me in horrible ways. It's actually quite nice, even tickles a little bit, but pleasurable the entire way. Her soft fingers stroking upwards and downwards, cradling, smoothly running across all my features. She's quite good at this, or her accidental exploration is simply hitting all the right tactile levels. Either way, I'm not too far off of an orgasm myself. I almost can't stop myself from giving a couple of thrusts forwards, even though I know nothing would happen. It's right after I almost give one of these thrusts that she pulls one of her hands away and stops the movement with the other. I can hear her mouth open, her hot breath on my neck as I'm facing away from her. Then a long, wet, crackly sound. Her hand comes back around and touches me down below. It's wet and slippery. She licked it. With the newfound lubrication, her strokes are slower, more methodical, and every time her hand ridges the head of my penis, I feel the nerves all the way up shudder, a bit of a shock through me. It's a completely different experience than doing it myself. I have no control, no knowledge of what's going to happen next, but it's an amazing experience. But like all amazing experiences, this one has to end sooner rather than later. After a couple more of her wonderful strokes, I do slight my hips forward a tiny bit, This is accompanied by a spasm or two across my entire dick. No controlling that. And a squirt a numberless amount of times, plastering Raven's lower back, skirt, and Blondie's hand with copious amounts of thick liquid. Now that is comfy. I give an internal sigh as one of Blondie's hands snakes away again. An apprehensive pause, the same hot, hurried breath on the back of my neck, the same crackling, wet sound. I throw on a satisfied smile and fall asleep again. Good evening, Anons. His words, beckoning you inside. I welcome you to Storybro's magically lewd sleepover adventure, update number 19. I hope that this recap will jog your memory before we start tonight. Competitive catfights, lies, and all the reasons you shouldn't. It's okay, I'm not dead anymore. Oh, I guess that's not okay. Please stop hitting her, you're missing and hurting me. Make it all better with baked goods. The shock of remembering you could be gone. Drunken bathroom glasses bonanza. Hello, Jill, my old friend. No beds, sleepyhead. You're a big girl now, homely. No night-night stories. Midnight cereal break. It's still raining. Goldilocks and the two bears. Great happiness will come to you from an unexpected place. In bed. All in one Anon's failed attempt to survive a sleepover with 5 teenage females. Next thing I know, it's light outside. Well, inside, too. There was a patch of sunlight streaming across my eyelids. That doesn't let you go back to bed, no matter how sleepy you are, and I was really sleepy. So the first thing my sleepy eyes can see is the back of Raven's head. Her hair, to be precise. It's got sunlight all over it, making it look almost blonde in the bright spots. Which reminds me, my pants are still off. I'm still sticky. Both of my arms seem to be wrapped around Raven in various difficult to untangle ways. My sleepy mind struggles to remember how this happened. It doesn't really flood back. Not like people always say it does. It was kind of a trickle, and then I almost jumped when I realized the last bit. Blondie totally gave me a hand job while I was sleeping. Mental me kind of does a jump in the air, arms outstretched with a click of the heels. Raven's still asleep, Blondie's still asleep behind me. Time to return the favor. I start planning it all out in my head as I untangle myself from Raven. I'll turn her over and rub her softly awake. But wait, this is Blondie we're talking about. She'd probably freak the fuck out and that wouldn't go anywhere good. Images of Blondie screaming and burly firemen running in with gas masks to take me away flow freely through my mind. Not that those made any sense, but that's what I was thinking. Okay. We'll wake her up with a kiss first and then see where I can take that. I'm sure if I mention that I was awake, she'll let me. Perfect. I finish untangling myself from Raven and begin the slow endeavor of flipping over. Sun's in my eyes, so it takes me a moment to get adjusted. I look over to where the sleeping, blonde-haired princess would be. Nothing. The bed is empty. Unhappy face. My plan is ruined. I guess I could technically do it to Raven too, but I'll be honest. At this point in time, I wasn't actually sure she wanted to be romantic with me. It felt like everything she'd done up to this point had been a friend frantically trying to hold on to me when I showed interest in other women, as if I would suddenly stop talking to her because I found other girls or something. Like she wanted to remain friends, but pulled me into lewd and sex because I seemed interested and it was just a way to keep me. This would have been all great and fine if I was any other kind of guy, but to me it felt like I was forcing her, or she was forcing herself, just to not lose me. It's not a good feel, especially with her past. There goes my stomach doing belly flops again. I can't even bear to look at her when I think of this. I quietly roll over towards Blondie's side of the bed and get up. As I finally slide from out of the covers, I realize I've only got my boxers on, and those are around my knees. My pants are lost somewhere in the sheets. Can't afford to go back. I have to leave them behind. I salute the brave soldiers. Served me well, they did. I check the clock. 7 a.m. Fuck, it's too early. Might as well just go eat something, I guess. I pull up my boxers and tiptoe out of that side of the house as to not wake anyone. The hallway is quiet. It seems like the rain has stopped. I'm not sure if the power is back on or not. I check the living room on my way past. Glasses is half in and half out of her sleeping bag, which is impressive considering I quite clearly remember zipping it up. Her glasses are like halfway across the room, though. I had placed them all folded up next to her, but whatever she did, she had flung them across the room. I move around the couch to pick them up and put them on the table, probably in the kitchen where they won't get stepped on. That's when I realize Homely has completely kicked off the blanket and is lying half naked on her side. That would easily be enough to give me an instant boner, her breasts fully exposed as well as her long, smooth stomach all the way down to her navel. Don't forget the panties, light pink and firmly wedged into her crotch, before we return to the long, shapely thighs and legs. This would usually be plenty enough, but there was more. Her hand was wrapped around her back and around her behind, one finger nestled peacefully between her legs, and the panties were a dark shade of pink where that finger was resting. Wet dream? Maybe? Whatever the female version of a wet dream is. Maybe. I'm sure she would have loved the treatment Blondie missed out on, but I wasn't going to be the one to give it to her. The thought of covering her up so the other girls didn't see and laugh came to mind. Then I took that thought, and into the trash it went. No sympathy. Fuck Homely. I sure wanted to be there when she woke up to a group of giggling girls. It would be priceless, but my thoughts were interrupted like they so often are by other thoughts, mostly of the smell that was wafting through the house. Only one place something that smelled that delicious could be coming from. The bathroom. No, silly, the kitchen. And smelled goddamn delicious it did. Baking cinnamon, sugary smells, like I woke up in a confectioner's bakery. Time to sneak in and find out what the Rock is cooking. Tiptoes activated, menacing hands out in front and pointed downward, weirdly activated. Mind you, I'm in boxers, not wearing a t-shirt, and I have bandages wrapped around my wrists that are half falling off. I managed to sneak into the kitchen without the gang and the pesky dog finding where I am. Blondie's baking up a storm in here. The counter is a mess of different cutlery. There's a couple pans out and some white powder covering lots of surfaces. She's got these two mismatched oven mitts. Not to mention, she's got her bunny pajama shirt back on, and she managed to find an apron somewhere that's tied with a little bow in the back. Fuck. I don't understand why women wear aprons when they cook things. It's like they just can't see themselves being cute from a third-person view, and they do cute things while they do it. She doesn't seem to see me right away, so I watch her as she's humming some tune, swishing her hips, and doing various delicious related things. Yes, in multiple ways, anons. I end up watching her for a minute or two, just admiring the cuteness. In retrospect, it probably wasn't nearly as cute as I'm saying it was, but I thought she was adorable. I decide to reveal myself as she's bent over, fumbling with the oven. I hear the clang of the tray as she picks it up and turns around to look at me with a pan of something undoubtedly delicious in hand. Her face converts from a look of concentration to a beaming, sparkling smile instantly. Storybro! My first name, of course. She rushes forward to hug me, pan in hand. My life flashes before my eyes. I can see my childhood, places I'd never remembered being until now. Smiling mothers, smiling friends, sunlight in the garden at my old house, the butterflies that always seemed to love my light blonde hair. Butterflies like the ultraviolet color that reflects off of it. I only found that out later. Running through every memory, meeting everyone I'd known, my best friend. That was it. I opened my eyes just in time to see Blondie with both her arms up in the air, one mismatched kitten-shaped oven mitt with another square green one. This is the last thing that I'll ever see. I close my eyes in pain as her arms wrap around me. Wait a second. I saw both her hands. I open my eyes again and I just see Blondie's hair in my face. I kind of shake it loose as I'm standing there with my hands awkwardly to my sides. She had set the pan down on the counter behind her. All I can feel is the warm spots where the oven mitts had obviously been holding it on my back. I'm not dead. I'm not dying. It doesn't even hurt. It hits me like a sack of bricks that fell off of a 3-story building under construction due to gross mismanagement of resources and hiring unskilled employees. Aliens had abducted and replaced my Blondie. The hug isn't long, but it's long enough for me to formulate an anti-alien plan. Wherever they're holding her, there's probably a mothership, some kind of teleportation device down here in the house that lets this alien come and go as it pleases. I'll just have to get the fake Blondie to give me context clues as to where it is. Therefore, I'm just standing there dumbly as she backs away with a smile on. She doesn't even seem to find anything wrong, just turns around and grabs the pan. French toast with baked candied apples! She seems to be talking to me. I can barely make out her alien language over the alien sound she's making. The pitch at the end of the sentence almost turns into a squeal, some kind of xenomorph form of communication most likely. I've got to call backup. They tell me they're hours away. I'm in the pipe 5x5, landed on an alien planet alone. I've got to fend for myself. It's the best that I could come up with what I could find. You don't think Birthday will mind? None of those squeals this time. It's a serious question. I have to answer as to not seem suspicious. No, I'm sure she won't mind. You dirty alien bastard. Smells delicious, is what I'm going to say when I roast you with a flamethrower. I try to make it sound convincing. I've got to find clues as to where the teleporter is. This alien asks me for some powdered sugar. I have no clue what that's a code word for, but I assume the cabinets could be where the teleporter is. I start rummaging around until I find a box. Powdered confectioner's sugar. I hand her this alien substance as she spreads it all over the French toast. Some ritualistic tribal preparation, I guess. Maybe she was fattening us up to eat us. As I lean over to hand her the sugar, I take a peek in the pan. Sliced apples sizzling away, a caramelized brown in one side, lightly browned toast soaked in eggs, cream, and cinnamon on the other. And she was stirring up what seemed to be some kind of homemade sugar syrup, while lightly sprinkling it all with powdered sugar. There's no way aliens could have this mastery over human food. I comment on it looking absolutely delicious. This goes down amazingly well. She's beaming even wider. She points out that it's ready and it's my job to go wake everyone up. I give her a ship sailor salute. Aye aye, Captain Blondie. She giggles at this. +1 me points. But I've got to go wake everyone up. I trot off to the living room to start on the girls here first, trying to decide who to wake up first and how. Then I pause. If I wake up all the girls right now, I can't return the favor to Blondie. I turn on my heels and return to the kitchen. She doesn't even see me coming. I'm across the kitchen and have my arms wrapped around her. She manages to get out half of a hey before I turn her around, before my lips are on hers. She's not struggling against me, just surprised. I get to watch her eyes change, every shade between confusion and complacency, every shade between sapphire to sky blue. She tastes like candied apples, no doubt sampling the wares as she went along. But that's what I was doing. I slide my hands under her apron, under her pajamas and around the back. Lower. My hands are slapped away. It's hot. Damn right it is. It's gonna get cold. Oh. Fine. I don't have any snappy comebacks that would make her delay food any longer. I could have said 1,001 things here, like, can I eat you first? Or the tried and true, it's better cold. But I didn't. Nope, I just let go of the adorable girl in my arms and trudged off to wake everyone up. I was hungry anyways. At least that's what I kept telling myself. First, I'll wake up Raven. I shuffle down the hallway again. Kinda sad, kinda with a boner. I end up standing beside her sleeping. She's cute. Back to her peaceful reverie of dreams. I could wake this girl up in any way I wanted at all. She wouldn't complain even if I had her panties around her ankles. But I'm just kinda standing there not knowing what I want to do. Remember what I said earlier? I didn't want her to feel like sex was all I wanted from her. The only way to make me feel happy. Even if it did make me happy. But, we had a prior relationship that was built on actually getting along with one another and enjoying each other's company. All that sappy stuff. I'm really confused as to what I should do. Confused, half, almost, not boner. I play the safe card. I decided I would wake her up with a hug. I unwrap her slightly from the blankets and pull her up and press her against me. Tightly. That does the trick. She wakes up squirming until she realizes it's me. Then I get shoved off. What? Bathroom. That one word, and she's across the bed and has the master bath closed. Oh. Okay then. Guess it's a good thing I didn't wake her up differently. I leave and start heading back to the living room. Alright. Next on the list is glasses. She's easy. I really can wake her up any way I want, and she would enjoy it, and not pretend to, unlike someone else. But I'm not sure what exactly I could pull off in the living room with Homely sleeping beside of us. I go for as lewd as I can without taking anyone's pants off. It involves one hand down the front of her pants and the waistband of her underwear, and a kiss. She wakes up to me lewdly fingering her as well as I can, in the same nose-holding kiss I gave her the morning before. Frankly, I have no clue what I'm doing, but her eyes are wide open. She's tense. Instead of relaxing, she lets out a loud, long, muffled moan into my mouth. Hot air and carbon dioxide flooding my lungs in surprise. I snap my hands out of her pants because she was really loud, and waking up Homely like that would be really, really bad. We break the kiss. She whispers, "You can't just start and leave me unfinished." Oh man, that's a tempting thought. However, Blondie made French toast and baked apples. It's piping hot out of the oven. I say this with a smirk. She knows she's been beaten. Her face turns to a scowl, but her eyes are still fiery. I've awoken something inside of her, I hope, or guess, or am pretending to have guessed. She mumbled something like, "I'll show you piping hot," as she picks herself up and starts to stand. That is, before she gets a look at Homely. She lets out a complete giggle and then clasps her hands over her head. "Ha ha ha, you went to bed drunk, girl. That shit's gotta hurt. Especially when you laugh." But she still points towards Homely and asks me what I'm going to do to wake her up. That's a good question. I get up and walk over to Homely on the couch. She's half on her side, lips kind of open and drooling. The thought of sticking my dick in her mouth comes to mind, but that's just not what the situation calls for. Instead, I wipe the wet and sticky finger I had inside of glasses across her lips. That's more like it. Appropriate meanness to Homely accomplished, with more giggles and "oh my head" from Glasses in the background. I then ask Glasses how I should wake her up. I get various responses, most of them including cold water or mean things, but she's saying them in a joking tone. She points out it's Homely's last day, so I might as well treat her with a special wake-up. I don't like what this is implying. That's dirty. Whatever you have planned, Glasses. Then I find out it's not that dirty. She just wants me to kiss her. I can do that. That's almost no problem at all. I walk over and just decide I can get it done with and then go and wake up Birthday. I lean down. My lips touch hers. Suddenly her eyes jolt wide open. What the I'm slapped in the face and I go reeling backwards. Glasses had grabbed both of Homely's tits and squeezed. Her hands were still there. Doesn't matter though. Homely's yelling about me being a pervert. Until she sees Glasses laughing with her hands still on her tits and she squeezes them again. Honk honk, motherfucker. Homely gasps and ow and reaches up and slaps her too. It's my turn to laugh. Blondie seems to have heard some of the yelling in here and announces through the doorway that the food is gonna get cold if we don't hurry. I can't stop laughing, but I manage to get up and walk over to the hallway again. Birthday's turn for a wake-up. This'll be good. Well, until I get to the door. It's still locked. I bang on it. She's still asleep. I bang on it some more, and some more, and some more, but she doesn't seem to be waking up. I yell her name. She responds, "I'm not coming out until Homely leaves." Oh, right. She totally got her ass handed to her. I try to reason with her, even offering piping hot breakfast for her. Nope, she won't budge. Stubborn as shit. That's Birthday for ya. I tell her I'm eating her portion of delicious Blondie-based cooking. She mumbles through the door something, but I'm already half gone. To the kitchen we go, off to see the Wizard of Baked Goods. I arrive at mostly the same time Glasses and Homely get there. Raven is already helping herself to a plate of deliciousness. Birthday has a hangover. We should save her a plate. It's the only excuse I can think of to keep the notion of her still being mad at Homely from interrupting this delicious feast. Nothing like a rivalry to ruin our food. It seems to work though. Homely announces, "Yeah, tell me about it," and clasps the back of her hand to cup her forehead in a dramatic fashion. Her chest sways in a dramatic fashion too. Crisis averted for the time being, I guess. Well, maybe not. Are we having a topless party now? It's Glasses, mentioning the fact that more than half of the people in here aren't wearing clothes at all up top. Homely makes some complaint about them hurting and being sore now because they were squeezed. Eyebrows raised from around the kitchen, Blondie and Raven glaring daggers at me now. Oh god, no. Please. Glasses. Save me. Pleading looks in her direction. She smirks. She's going to let me suffer. She loves to see me suffer. You can squeeze mine back if you want, Homely. Or not. She says this in a sing-song fashion as she unclasps her bra and lets her breasts free as well. All attention from everyone goes straight to staring at her tits now. I'm telling you, man, everyone likes tits. But this leaves one non-topless girl in the room. Blondie. All eyes are set on her. Fair is fair, after all. She realizes what we're all looking at her for. Absolutely not! That's really more of an embarrassed no rather than a strict no. Homely seems to get the same impression and shouts, "I'll hold her down!" Whoa, hold on. I think that's a little too fast. The other girls are encroaching on Blondie in the corner of the kitchen now. She's flashing her blue eyes back and forth between faces like a trapped animal. No, we are not doing this to Blondie. Again. Stop! I'm loud. I surprise myself, actually. The gates hold, the barbarians halting their assault. I squeeze into the circle and turn around to face everyone. I'm calm, authoritative. Relax. She'll let me. I don't even turn around to confirm this. I just figure it's happening, so I might as well make it less traumatic. She was working all morning in the kitchen when a man she had recently killed called her up from near where she was working. So, she looked out the window at him. He had the same obscure manner. That was the reason she had him killed. But he couldn't calm her nerves, so he sang her this song. To her, across the home. Turn around, turn around. There's a thing that can be found. Turn around, turn around. It's a human skull on the ground. Human skull on the ground. Turn around. So she did. I wrapped my arms around her as if to give her a backwards hug. I asked her one question. Do you trust me? I get one response. No. I start laughing into her shoulder. I find this amazingly funny. She doesn't seem to, though she's stiff as a board. I try to be the gentleman. I whisper softly in her ear, a way out. If you don't want to do this, just squeeze my wrist, and I'll stop and make up an excuse. I don't think any of the girls heard me. I'm not even looking at them, though. I slip my hands under the apron. I decide I'll start at the bottom button of her pajamas. With my hands, it's like a bazillion, million, trillion times easier to unbutton each one of them. Bottom button done. I slide my hands up further. Second button done. The bottom of her shirt is loose now, flapping open. I take my left hand and place it on her bare stomach, flat palmed, as to use the other to continue up the buttons. Third button. I move my left hand upwards slightly, and she jumps. Her hand is on my wrist, but it's soft. No squeeze. I wait a moment for her to make her decision. Nothing. I whisper to her again. Just squeeze and I'll stop. Her hand hasn't moved. Fourth button. Fifth button. Sixth button. No squeezes. Her shirt is completely open now, just loosely hanging on her shoulders. I can look over her shoulder, down her apron, and see her bra. Oh, right. She has one of those. I slide my right hand around and up her back. I meet my arch nemesis on the field of battle. Velcro. Fuck. I need 2 hands for this. Nope. Not gonna do it. Not gonna take my hand off her stomach. It would mean she couldn't squeeze and stop me. Plus, her stomach is warm and feels nice. The band is too stretchy for me to just pull one end and have it come undone. The strap is on the bottom and folded over anyways. It's like that so it doesn't rub against your skin and irritate you. You're welcome, non-bra wearing anons. Wait a second. Clever plan initiated. I pull my head away from Blondie's shoulder. I crouch down, both hands still in the same place. I softly grasp the other half of the strap in my teeth through her shirt and keep a firm grip while I pull the other side. The satisfying sound of Velcro can be heard throughout the room. I let go with my teeth. Still no squeeze on my wrist, but she did give a gasp when she felt my teeth against her back. I turn my head to look at the other girls. They're all frozen staring. I try to explain. Velcro, as if that explained anything. I return to Blondie. She's fully undressed now. Well, not really. Apron, shirt, and bra are still on. They just aren't all tied on anymore, besides the apron. But I have my hand in a great place on her stomach. It comes to mind that I can move it lower. She'll tell me if she wants me to stop, so I bring it lower. My pinky is touching the waistband of her brown shorts. Her hand is on mine. No squeezes. I bet I'm home free. I slide it into the waistband. She squeezes. Damn. Oh well, that's the limit, I guess. I don't take it personal. I've made great strides for humanity today. I just bring my hand off of her stomach and around to the sides of her shirt. It takes a bit of wiggling, but eventually I get it off without taking off the apron. It really isn't that bad. Just bring her arms back and slide it off. Next up is the bra. I know how I want to take this off. I put both my hands on her stomach. Then I slide them up and under each cup. Delicious breast in each hand. I don't really squeeze them. I give her a full backwards pull with them, pressing her back against me. Her breathing isn't shallow. It's smooth, but fast. She's rather sensitive, I remember. I don't keep contact for too long. I move my hands away until the bra is forward. Then I move it upwards and force her arms outstretched in front of her to slide it off that way. It comes to mind, I didn't really have to explain that. I could have just told you I took it off, but I guess your imaginations might miss out on the glorious amount of side and top boob shots I was sneaking the entire time. Hey guys, it's Dova. Thanks so... Wait, what the fuck is that sound? Oh my god, it's Patreon. Oh my fucking god.